Hey guys, dwhitebass with you here. I know I haven't used that tagline in quite some time, but let's dust off the old chestnut. I'm coming to you from my living room here in New York, and I was thinking about how it's so rare for me to have both of my uprights in the same city at the same time. Normally one lives with me here in the city, and the other one literally lives on the road, like it has been for the past 2 years. I haven't had it here. So I figured let's make a video and kind of compare and contrast between the two styles of Upton basses and see what they can do, and you can make your own determinations. So without any further ado, let's get to some playing. So I'm going to talk individually about these basses. Some important things to note: they both have Diodario Kaplans on them. The other thing is that I'm doing this just through the mic that's in my GoPro. I didn't want to try and position a mic and not have them be compared fairly and all that good stuff. So what you see is what you get, and that's kind of the point of this. The first bass that we're going to talk about is Upton's Bostonian model. This is a 7/8 size, so it's different than the 3/4 that's over to my right here. This is a fully carved out of maple Bostonian. As you can see, there's the aesthetic thing of ebony hat peg tuners, obviously a very dark finish, the solo swoop, which I don't quite frankly use, kind of being a meat and potatoes kind of guy. The main difference here is that, as you can see, the lower bout is very wide. She's kind of a hippie broad. I find that she's very dark when playing pits, and very bright under the bow. She responds very well across the entire register, and she's really deep in fundamentals. If you're looking for a solo instrument, I wouldn't really push you in this direction. This is much more of a kind of dark, orchestral, meat and potatoes kinds of bass. I haul this around with me to pretty much every gig here in the city, and it's never let me down. As far as pickups, I have a realist on here. It's got bridge risers. Quite frankly, nothing extremely fancy. The only thing I added is gates to the extension, since because I have the hat peg tuners, sometimes this E flat can be a little problematic. Again, I would heed Eric Roy's advice and say, if you're getting a hat peg tuners, make sure you get gates, or if you're going to get an extension, don't get ebony hat peg tuners. That has been something I've learned in the past. So this is the other bass. This is kind of my jet setter bass, as I call it. This is Upton's Bohemian model. It's a hybrid with a spruce top. This is also a travel bass. This thing folds up into a relatively small gauge flight case that's meant for removable necks, obviously. Quite frankly, it's the only way I can get a bass on an airplane anymore. This one has never failed me. Last year, I had a run where I went from Pittsburgh to New York in the wintertime, New York to Australia for 2 months, where I was there in their summer, and then came back to New York after 2 months, and then went to Vancouver in the middle of February, and I have never had a problem with this, knock on wood. I find that this bass is even more even than the Bohemian. It's a lot throatier. Now, I can't get into the specifics, because I don't quite frankly know the difference. This one is very throaty. I find it to almost have like a cello-like tone in the lower register. The big differences here is that obviously this has Upton's travel neck, which I find to be ingenious. It all operates on an aluminum sled. It's very easy to assemble once you get the hang of it. The main differences here is that I took the hat peg tuners off. I don't have gates on this extension. And then the main difference is this is in a carbon fiber tailpiece, which I find contributes a little bit to the kind of throaty tone, and it does change a little bit, to my mind, the quickness of the response under the bow. But again, I find this to be much better suited to a kind of any type of gig. This one is more orchestral. This one is my pit bass, and will serve you in pretty much any capacity. So I hope that gives you a better indication of what these two different basses sound like. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, shoot me emails, any of that stuff. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about Upton. I can't ask for a better shop to work with. These guys have been with me for a few years now, and I love them. So subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. See you later.